Single black dad's heartwarming drive home reveals unexpected truth about his drunk boss's life. Jamal glanced at the clock. Another long shift at the garage. The chill of winter seeped into his bones, but thoughts of his little girl, Mia, ignited warmth in his heart. She was his sunshine, his reason to grind through the days. But tonight, after staying late to help fix a stubborn engine, he had reluctantly agreed to drive his boss, Mr. Thompson, home from the holiday party. The air was thick with the scent of fried food and cheap cologne as they settled into Jamal's beat-up old car. Mr. Thompson's slurred speech echoed in the cramped space, his breath heavy with alcohol. "You really should join us for a drink next time, Jamal," he mumbled. Jamal just smiled politely, his heart heavy. He could hardly afford to tip at the diner, let alone join the elite in their indulgences. As they rolled through the streets adorned with sparkling holiday lights, Jamal's thoughts drifted to the future he envisioned for Mia. A future free from the shackles of financial strain, filled with the values of hard work and family. The sounds of laughter from the party faded into the background as Mr. Thompson continued rambling, his words losing their coherence. Suddenly, Mr. Thompson's defenses crumbled. "I could lose everything, you know." He stumbled over his emotions. Jamal's chest tightened. He could relate. He fought every day to keep a roof over his head for Mia. Yet, as the executive's ramblings spilled forth a mix of bravado and vulnerability, Jamal felt an unexpected wave of compassion wash over him. "You don't know what it's like," Mr. Thompson continued, his voice breaking. "I'm scared I'll fail at everything." Jamal gripped the steering wheel tighter, feeling the weight of their shared human experience. For a moment, the shimmering holiday lights outside blurred. It was just them, two men navigating their own dark nights. Before they knew it, the words began spilling out, a tale of trauma, loss, and the suffocating grip of past regrets. Mr. Thompson admitted to his war experiences, haunted memories that turned his nights into battles of their own. Jamal's mind raced back to his own father, a man who fought his battles with pride, never showing the cracks. Despite the years of pain, he passed those values down to Jamal. Then, in a fleeting moment of clarity, Jamal understood. The man beside him wasn't the ruthless executive he thought he knew. He was just a lost soul, like so many navigating their own struggles. But as Jamal began to empathize, a startling proposition turned the air thick with tension. Mr. Thompson offered a promotion, a lifeline cloaked in uncertainty. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Jamal's heart raced at the offer, questions swirling like snowflakes outside the car window. Could this be the break he'd dreamed of for Mia? Or was it simply a reflection of privilege he had only ever seen from afar? The holiday lights dimmed in the rearview mirror, leaving only the shadows of uncertainty as the car inched toward Mr. Thompson's home. The future lay before Jamal, glistening in the winter night, filled with hope and doubt. Would this connection mend their divides, or would it deepen the chasm of understanding? As Jamal pulled up to Mr. Thompson's house, the glow of the porch light flickered like a beacon. The car engine hummed softly, contrasting the turmoil inside him. He had always been the hard-working father, a man who knew how to hustle for what mattered. But was this promotion a true opportunity, or just another ploy to use his grit without understanding his worth? "Jamal," Mr. Thompson's voice cut through the tension, thick like the fog outside. "I'm in it. You're different. You've got something I just want to keep you close. I don't want to lose good people." Jamal swallowed hard, feeling the weight of those words. What did that mean for him? Was he considered good simply because he was reliable, or did Mr. Thompson see something more? His mind raced with thoughts about Mia. He envisioned her dreams, her laughter, and how this decision could influence everything. But what if it was built on shaky ground? Mr. Thompson, Jamal finally replied, his voice barely above a whisper. I appreciate it, I really do. But you have to understand I've worked hard for everything I have. And I want my daughter to see me as a man who stood tall and proud, not someone who was handed a favor. The air between them grew silent. The hum of the engine faded as Mr. Thompson turned to face Jamal, the hint of desperation lingering in his eyes. I respect that. I really do. But what can I do to show you? I need you to trust me. Trust, that's hard to come by in this world. Jamal looked straight ahead. The blank road stretched out like an uncertain future. You're not the only one who has been affected by choices. We all have scars, Mr. Thompson. Jamal's mind flashed to his father, the man who fought to protect what he loved while hiding his pain. He had learned to wear a mask for the world, just as Mr. Thompson did. They were two sides of the same coin, the worker and the executive, both weighed down by their past. Mr. Thompson nodded, seeming to absorb Jamal's words. I've got a lot of making up to do, you know. My failures, they haunt me. But I see something in you that I wish I could hold on to. A sense of hope. Jamal felt a flicker of understanding pass between them. They were both searching, battling demons in hollow spaces. But was that enough to build a bridge? I'll think about it, Jamal responded softly, unsure of what lay ahead. But that tiny spark of connection held promise, even amid uncertainty. As Jamal started the car and pulled away, he looked back one last time. Mr. Thompson stood on his porch, shoulders slumped and gaze lost in thought. The world moved on around them, but two men had somehow acknowledged one another's struggles that night. When he arrived home, Mia was waiting up for him by the flickering TV, a blanket wrapped around her little shoulders. She saw her dad and jumped up with a bright smile, cutting through the night's complications. Daddy, can we make cookies? Jamal felt a warm flood through him. This was what mattered. The life he built, the love he poured into it. But as her sweet joy filled the room, doubt crept back. And could he truly provide for them? Was making sacrifices worth it if it threatened to change who he was? Of course, baby, he said, wrapping her in his arms. Yet, in the back of his mind loomed the looming question. How far would he go to secure their future without losing sight of himself? As the aroma of cookies filled the air and Mia giggled, he realized that choices would have to be made. And some secrets might just have the power to change everything. As the scent of cookie dough enveloped their tiny kitchen, Jamal couldn't shake the conversation with Mr. Thompson from his mind. Despite Mia's excitement, he felt the weight of expectation pressing down on him. The soft laughter of his daughter was a welcome distraction, but deep down, he grappled with a growing unease. Can we put chocolate chips in the cookies? Mia asked, her wide eyes sparkling with hope. The simple question pulled Jamal back into the moment. Sure thing, sweetheart, he replied, managing a smile. They began mixing ingredients, the familiar rhythm of their baking routine, a comfort amidst the storm of his thoughts. Each stir of the bowl took him further from his worries, if only for a few moments. He watched Mia as she danced in place, her enthusiasm infectious. Yes, his life was about these moments, but he knew he had a responsibility that stretched far beyond a few plates of cookies. Suddenly, the conversation replayed in his mind, Mr. Thompson's desperate eyes, the hint of vulnerability in his voice. You're different. Jamal's heart ached at that phrase. Did he truly believe in Jamal's worth, or was this just a desperate attempt to hold onto a worker? There was something haunting in Mr. Thompson's honesty, a glimpse of a man burdened by his own mistakes. Daddy, look! Mia exclaimed, tugging on his shirt, her giggles pulling him back to reality. She had managed to get chocolate chips everywhere, her fingers covered in gooey, sticky goodness. "I'm a chocolate monster." Jamal laughed, the sound warm but bittersweet. "You are indeed." He couldn't help but feel a pang of pride that she still found joy in little things. That's what he wanted for her, joy without burdens. But soon she would grow and encounter the same complexities that tangled his life. "Do you think Mr. Thompson really wants to help us?" Mia suddenly asked, her innocent gaze penetrating Jamal's defenses. He froze, the question hanging in the air. "I don't know, honey," he finally said, keeping his tone light. "Sometimes adults have different ways of showing it." Mia nodded thoughtfully, her small brow furrowing. "You're a good dad, right? You always help me." Her trust felt like a warm hug, but it also felt like an anchor pulling him down to reality. "I'm trying, Mia. Just remember, life can be tricky." Later that night, as Mia drifted off to sleep, Jamal sat on the edge of her bed, feeling a swell of love and resolve. He wanted to secure a future for her, but not at the cost of his principles. With every decision he faced, he felt the tug-of-war between ambition and integrity. Finally, he glanced around the dimly lit room, filled with her toys and dreams, and whispered to himself, "What if this is my chance to make it right?" The thought stirred a mix of hope and fear. Could he really take that promotion without losing his essence? As he slipped into his own room, he cast one last look at Mia's peaceful face. Tomorrow would demand answers, and he could feel the horizon shifting. The choices ahead loomed larger than ever. Would he seize the opportunity for himself, for them, or would the weight of moral duty keep him pulling in the opposite direction? And so, in the quiet of the night, a new question crystallized in his mind. When the moment of truth came, would he have the courage to stand for what really mattered? The following morning, Jamal woke to the soft light filtering in through the curtains. The air felt thick with the tension that had been building in him since the conversation with Mr. Thompson. He stood by the window, watching the world come alive outside, but the chaos of his thoughts kept him rooted in place. Mia shuffled into the room, her hair tousled and her eyes still sleepy. "Good morning, Daddy." Her voice was bright, cutting through the fog of his mind. "Good morning, sweetheart," he replied, forcing a smile. She rushed to him, throwing her small arms around his waist, a surge of warmth flooding through him. In moments like this, all that mattered was her happiness. After breakfast, he made the drive to work, the familiar streets blurring past. Yet today, every stoplight felt like a ticking clock, reminding him of the time creeping closer to the mounting conversation with Mr. Thompson. What would he say? How would he feel? As he parked and stepped out of the car, he inhaled deeply, readying himself. He found his way to his office, steeling himself for whatever lay ahead. The mornings were usually chaotic, but today the atmosphere in the office felt electric, as if everyone sensed something was about to shift. "Hey, Jamal." His colleague Lisa greeted him, her smile encouraging. "You heard the news about the promotion, right? It's yours if you want it." "If?" The word echoed in his mind, setting his pulse racing. "I guess we'll see," he replied, keeping his expression neutral. Inside, however, he felt a mix of hope and anxiety crash together in a whirlwind. Not long after, Mr. Thompson called him into his office. As Jamal walked down the hall, he felt like he was walking toward a firing squad. When he entered, he found Mr. Thompson sitting at his desk, a coffee cup trembling slightly in his hands. "Jamal," he said, his tone softer than usual, "thanks for coming in." Before he could respond, Mr. Thompson continued, "I know things have felt off lately. I want to be upfront with you about this promotion." Jamal held his breath. Would this be a chance to break free from the chains that held him? "I need someone I can trust." Mr. Thompson's eyes darkened with vulnerability. "I've made some mistakes. And if I'm honest, I'm counting on you to help me turn this around for both of us. The weight of his confession hung between them, intertwining their stories in a way Jamal hadn't anticipated. He saw a flicker of desperation in Mr. Thompson's eyes, a pain that mirrored his own struggles. Why me? Jamal's voice was steadier than he felt. There are a lot of people who could fill this role. Mr. Thompson leaned forward, his fingers clenching around the mug. Because you're different, Jamal. You have integrity. I need someone who is not afraid to stand up for what is right, even when it's hard. Yet, how could he trust the man whose decisions had led to chaos in the first place? Look, Jamal said, the words spilling out. Are you truly willing to change? Because it's going to require more than just a promotion. Mr. Thompson nodded, though the shadows of doubt still lingered in his gaze. I'm ready, if you are. As Jamal stepped out of the office, his heart raced. This was his moment, the swirling fog of uncertainty giving way to clarity. The choice lay ahead, pulsing with potential. But as he walked back to his desk, he couldn't shake the unease. Could he really be the anchor for someone like Mr. Thompson? And more importantly, what would that mean for Mia? Today was just the beginning, and Jamal realized that his path was about to get a lot more complicated. The question echoed in his mind, would he risk everything to help someone else, or protect himself and Mia? Jamal sat at his desk, the glow of his computer screen illuminating his troubled expression. The day dragged on at a crawl, each minute heavier than the last. He typed absent-mindedly, but his mind was elsewhere, tangled in thoughts of the choice he faced. Mia's laughter, the warmth of her hug, the way she looked at him like he was her hero, those visions fought against the creeping doubt about Mr. Thompson. His phone buzzed, startling him. A text from Lisa popped up. Dinner tonight? My treat. We need to celebrate your promotion. He hesitated for just a moment, and then quickly typed back, sounds good. What time? 7 p.m. at that new Italian place. No matter how much he wanted to embrace the idea of a celebration, the reality of the meeting loomed large. Would he be able to celebrate at all? As the clock ticked closer to evening, the office began to empty. Jamal packed his things, preparing to join Lisa. But his heart felt heavy, and the uplifting words she had spoken earlier about his promotion echoed hauntingly in his mind. When he stepped outside, the sun had dipped low, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. He took a deep breath, savoring the moment. The world seemed at peace, yet he felt like a storm was brewing inside him. Arriving at the restaurant, he found Lisa already seated. Her infectious smile greeted him as he slid into the chair across from her. You look tense. You're getting that promotion, right? Hopefully. He offered a weak smile, but inside, uncertainty gnawed at him. They chatted about trivial things, work, weekend plans, a mutual friend's recent engagement, but the joy felt distant. Jamal's thoughts kept drifting back to Mr. Thompson's request. There was something powerful about being needed, but was it worth the risk? Hey! Lisa suddenly leaned closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I know something's bothering you. Spill. Jamal sighed. It's just Mr. Thompson asked me to help him turn things around. He has been struggling, and I don't know if I should step in. What if it backfires? What if it puts me at risk? Lisa regarded him thoughtfully, a mix of sympathy and encouragement in her gaze. But what if it doesn't? Maybe this is your chance to help someone who truly needs it. You've always been the person who steps up, Jamal. What about the lasting change you could create? He tapped his fingers against the table, caught in the duality of possibilities. Her words struck him. They stirred something deep within, an impulse to believe in redemption. But could he really embrace that belief and help the man who had fallen from grace? As they finished dinner and laughed over dessert, Jamal felt a small flicker of the courage he needed. Maybe helping Mr. Thompson wouldn't just be about him. it could also be about all the employees who felt neglected and disheartened. And Mia, she deserved to see her dad as a beacon of hope. After they settled the bill, Jamal walked Lisa to her car. They stood outside under the dim street lamps. "Just remember, sometimes the hardest choices lead to the best outcomes," she said, offering one last reassuring smile. As he drove home, the streets felt alive with possibility. But as he turned the corner toward his neighborhood, it hit him he needed to decide soon, because the consequences of inaction might haunt him more than a misstep in helping. He glanced at the clock on his dashboard and thought of Mia waiting at home, her bright smile ready to light up his world. Would he find a way to balance his own fears with the needs of those around him? The question lingered in front of him, sinking deeper with each passing second. What would happen if he took the leap, or if he chose to stay safe? As Jamal pulled into his driveway, the weight of the evening settled heavily on his shoulders. The house was quiet, a contrast to the chaotic jumble of thoughts in his mind. He parked the car and took a moment, staring at the front door, which felt like a threshold to a million decisions waiting to unfold. He could hear Mia's laughter echoing in his head, a sweet sound that made his heart swell. She had a way of making everything seem right, if only for a moment. He stepped out of the car, fatigue washing over him. Yet somewhere, deep in the core of his being, there was a flickering flame of determination. Opening the door, the familiar scent of a home filled with warmth, and little adventures washed over him. "Me!" he called, but his voice was swallowed by the silence. He moved through the hall, peeking into her room. There she was, sprawled across her bed, surrounded by stuffed animals. The way her brows furrowed in sleep made him chuckle. Here was one worry: he was sure of her dreams were innocent, untouched by the world's harsh realities. He sat on the edge of her bed, brushing a stray hair from her face. It was moments like these that gave him clarity. She would be his anchor, as he faced the trials of the world outside their little bubble. The thought of putting her, or anyone in harm's way, made his heart thump painfully against his chest. But maybe, just maybe, committing to help Mr. Thompson wasn't just about him. It was a chance to create a better home for her future. Mia stirred and blinked sleepily at him, her eyes sparkling like dewdrops in the morning sun. "Daddy, can we make pancakes tomorrow?" she asked, her voice hoarse with sleep. "Of course," he replied, grinning despite the heavy burden he carried. "It's a date." As Mia's eyelids fluttered back down, Jamal's phone buzzed again, snapping him from his thoughts. It was a group chat notification from Lizzie, the head HR rep. The impending layoffs were bringing tension into the office, and whispers of discontent grew louder. Jamal's stomach twisted. He had to act fast. There were lives at stake, including that of a man whom many had written off. He paced the living room, considering the gravity of his choice. Could he really help Mr. Thompson? Could he guide him back from the brink, or was it a lost cause? His heart raced. There were no easy answers. Just then, a soft knock on the door pulled him from his thoughts. Glancing through the peephole, he saw Mr. Thompson standing there, disheveled, his usual crisp suit now wrinkled. Jamal's heart sank. This was not only a surprise, but a direct challenge to the path he was forging. With a deep breath, he opened the door. Mr. Thompson stood there, vulnerability etched across his face. "I'm sorry to drop by unannounced," he stammered, a mixture of shame and desperation in his eyes. "But can we talk?" Jamal felt his heart pounding. This was it. The moment he could either retreat into safety or reach out, extend a hand, and maybe even help save a soul. "I was just thinking about you," Jamal responded cautiously, stepping aside to let him in. As Mr. Thompson crossed the threshold, Jamal wondered if this one choice would change everything. Would lifting him up also lift Mia and the others who looked up to them? Or was he walking straight into a trap he'd never escape? The unspoken words echoed in the living room, thick with tension. Jamal felt the moment hanging in the air, charged with potential. What would he reveal next? What choice lay just beyond the horizon? Mr. Thompson stepped inside, the weight of his presence filling the small living room. Jamal closed the door slowly, the click echoing like a starting gun. Before he could find the right words, Mr. Thompson's shoulders slumped, and he sank into the nearest chair, looking as if the last remnants of his confidence had vanished with the evening light. I don't know where to start," Mr. Thompson admitted, his voice barely rising above a whisper. "Take your time," Jamal said, his heart a mixture of concern and curiosity. He settled into the chair across from him, his hands resting on his knees, waiting for the story to unfold. With a shaky breath, Mr. Thompson began. "I've been struggling for a while now. It's like I'm on this treadmill that's speeding up, and I can't keep up." He glanced around the room, taking in the cozy, familiar decorations. "I thought if I pushed harder, put in more hours, it would fix things. But it just made me break." The sentence hung there, fragile yet powerful. Jamal's heart twisted at the sight of a man who once stood as an immovable force reduced to this. "You don't have to fight this alone," Jamal offered gently. "We can work on this together." Mr. Thompson's eyes flickered with a mix of relief and doubt. "I feel like I've lost everything: my job, my family, my sanity." He paused, his voice cracking. "I was drinking to cope. I thought it could numb the pain, but it only made it worse." Jamal leaned forward, desperate to reach the man who, in the eye of the storm, appeared so unsteady and vulnerable. "You're here now," he said softly, "and that's a big first step. You've already decided to ask for help." Mr. Thompson looked at him, uncertainty clouding his features. "What if I fail? What if I fall back into old habits?" "Failure is part of the journey." Jamal felt a surge of bravery. "What is important is how you get back up. It's about taking one step at a time. You're not just fighting for yourself, but for those who look up to you." As those words settled in the air, Jamal saw a flicker of something: hope? Or was it determination? Cross Mr. Thompson's face. It was fleeting, but enough to shed light on the darkness that had buried his spirit deep down. "You're right. I can't keep going like this," Mr. Thompson murmured, a newfound resolve bubbling in his voice. "I need to change. I want to change." Jamal nodded, feeling a connection forming, a bond built on shared humanity. His phone buzzed again, but he ignored it, focusing instead on Mr. Thompson. Every moment felt crucial, each exchange a potential turning point. "Let us put some plans in motion." "We can find you help," Jamal said. "There are resources. You can rebuild." Mr. Thompson wiped at his eyes, the rawness of his emotions catching Jamal off guard. "You don't know how much this means to me. I felt so alone." "You're not alone anymore," Jamal assured him, his voice resonating with warmth. "Let us take this week by week. Just like I have to for Mia, I'll be here for you." Mr. Thompson finally smiled, the weight of the world momentarily lifted. The tension in the room began to ease, replaced by a budding sense of possibility. Just then, the unmistakable sound of Mia's laughter floated in from the kitchen, a melody of innocence that pulled both men back to reality. Mr. Thompson straightened himself, swiping away the remnants of his tears. "Is that your daughter?" "Yeah, she is a little whirlwind of joy," Jamal replied, a smile barely containing the warmth he felt. "Can I meet her?" Mr. Thompson asked, the eagerness softening his features. "Sure, let us make that happen," Jamal agreed, his heart lifted by the thought of introducing two worlds that were so different but needed to intersect. But as he stood up, suddenly the weight of the unexpected burden returned. Jamal wondered if he was ready to expose Mia to Mr. Thompson's struggle. Could she handle the raw edges of a broken man's heart? Would this be the light that healed Mr. Thompson, or a shadow that loomed over her innocent world? He hesitated, a new apprehension settling in. Could one night change the course of their lives? Jamal took a moment to collect his thoughts, the laughter from the kitchen ringing sweetly in his ears. He glanced back at Mr. Thompson, who was fidgeting in his seat, an anxious look creeping back into his eyes. The man had just cracked open a door to his vulnerability, and now Jamal was unsure about whether to push it wide or to keep it slightly ajar. "I think Mia would love to meet you," Jamal finally said, determination settling in. "But let us keep it light at least for now." "Of course," Mr. Thompson replied, nodding quickly, his demeanor brightening. "I wouldn't want to scare her off." Jamal stood and made his way to the kitchen. As he entered, he was greeted by the vibrant energy that Mia effortlessly exuded. She was at the counter, attempting to concoct her latest masterpiece, a towering stack of cookies with way too much frosting. But to her, it was a work of art. "Me?" he called out, trying to match the enthusiasm she had always brought to his life. "Come meet someone." With bright eyes, she turned around, flour dusting her cheeks like some kind of divine fairy powder. "Who is it, Daddy? Is it a superhero? Oh, is it a princess?" Her excitement was contagious, and Jamal couldn't help but smile. "It's Mr. Thompson, the man I was telling you about. He is going to be our guest today." "Hey there," Mia chimed, bounding over to Mr. Thompson with the fearless heart of a child. "Can you help me with frosting? I need to make this cake the best." "It's for a birthday," she declared, her grin stretching wide as if she were offering the world. Mr. Thompson looked startled by her genuine enthusiasm, and then his expression softened, the tension in his shoulders releasing just a bit. "Well, I'd be honored to help with that," he said, his voice steadying. Jamal watched as Mr. Thompson knelt beside Mia, their laughter soon blending into the joyful chaos of sprinkles and dough. The warmth in the room was palpable. Here they were, a man wrestling with his struggles, and a child with her unfiltered joy, realizing they both needed this moment each in their own way. Yet, as delightful chaos unfolded in the kitchen, Jamal's mind drifted to the conversations they had just shared. It wasn't just about cookies or frosting. It was about bridges building between lives that seemed worlds apart. Suddenly Mr. Thompson paused, a moment of silence falling over them like a soft blanket. "You know, Mia," he said, looking up into her bright gaze, "sometimes life takes you down paths you never wanted to go. But it's the people we meet along the way who make the hard parts worth it." Mia tilted her head, her curious eyes searching his. "You must be really brave to say that. I think everyone has some hard stuff to deal with. Like my homework. It's tough, but I get to see my friends while I do it, and that makes it better." Jamal felt a lump in his throat. How did this little girl manage to pull meaning like that from an everyday struggle? "That's a really smart way to look at it," Mr. Thompson said, visibly moved. "Finding light even when things feel dark, that is brave, Mia." The kitchen felt alive, each person spinning around the truth of their own lives, momentarily intertwined. But as laughter resumed and the frosting chaos continued, a part of Jamal couldn't shake the thought that this newfound friendship would come with consequences. Would Mr. Thompson fall back into old habits? Would he draw Mia into the darkness he fought against? A flicker of doubt pricked at his heart, but as he watched Mr. Thompson genuinely engage with Mia, perhaps the path forward was illuminated. Maybe support could guide them both toward lighter days ahead. Still, uncertainty tightened its grip around Jamal's thoughts. He took a breath, wondering what it really meant to help someone heal. And in that brief silence, a question lingered. Could he be the bridge to a new beginning, or the brink of another heartbreak? As the laughter swelled in the kitchen, Jamal felt the shadows creeping closer, waiting for the right moment to strike. And he knew deep down, the next step was vital. Where would this delicate balance lead them all? Jamal felt warmth radiate from the kitchen, but beneath that warmth coiled an uncertainty that tugged at his heart. He watched as Mia and Mr. Thompson giggled, strewing colorful sprinkles and frosting across the counter like a vibrant, chaotic canvas. It was a beautiful sight, one that painted over the heaviness hanging in the air. Yet, Jamal couldn't quite shake the image of Mr. Thompson's anxious expression from earlier. With his thoughts racing, Jamal grabbed a kitchen towel, wiping his hands as he wondered how he might steer their conversation. He cleared his throat and stepped closer. "Mia, how about we ask Mr. Thompson about his job? Maybe he can show us how to make the cookies easier." Mia's eyes lit up with intrigue. "Yes. Do you do something really exciting?" she asked, face tilting up, her tiny hands frozen mid-frost. Mr. Thompson hesitated, the joy in his eyes fading momentarily. "Well, I work in an office," he started, adjusting his glasses. "It's not always as fun as baking cookies, but it has its moments." "Do you help people?" she chimed, utterly earnest. He glanced at Jamal before turning back to Mia and nodded slowly. "I do in a way. I help companies manage their challenges. But sometimes, I feel like there are challenges I don't handle so well." Mia frowned slightly, her brow furrowing with concern. "Like what? Are they big bad wolves?" "Kind of." Mr. Thompson chuckled softly, and Jamal felt a sense of ease in the room again. "There are moments when I fall short of what I want to be. It's tough." Jamal felt his chest tighten. He forced himself to engage, wanting to give Mr. Thompson the support he sensed he needed. "It's okay to not have everything figured out," he encouraged gently. "We all have times like that." Mr. Thompson's expression shifted, lighter now, like he might accept this moment for what it was, a connection, a safe space. "I guess you're right, Jamal. Sometimes the hardest thing is to ask for help. But being around, well, you and Mia, it makes me feel stronger." Mia nodded earnestly, her small, confident voice breaking through. "You can ask for help. You just have to tell us, and we're right here." Mr. Thompson's features softened with a smile, the corners of his mouth lifting as he looked at her. "Thank you, Mia. That means a lot." As they resumed decorating, laughter bouncing thickly off the walls, Jamal glanced at the mess they had created. He felt a sharp pang of gratitude. Perhaps this chaos was nurturing something deeper for all of them. Yet, in the back of his mind, whispers of doubt still echoed. What if the connection broke down under the weight of real challenges? He needed to navigate this carefully, not just for his own heart but for Mia's innocence. Moments passed with sprinkle-dusted smiles illuminating the kitchen, but as Jamal glanced outside, the sun dipped lower on the horizon, casting long shadows that spilled across their cheerful space. He heard Mr. Thompson's voice call out to him, breaking his reverie. "Jamal, can I ask you something?" "Sure," Jamal replied, his heart racing a little. I guess I just wanted to know, how do you manage to keep it all together as a dad?" The question hung in the air like a weight. Jamal took a breath, the kind that seemed to amplify everything around him. Was he really managing? Could he share the truth about his struggles while still holding up the facade of stability? Mia drew closer, her innocent curiosity captured in her wide eyes, waiting for her father's answer. He glanced at her small hands, covered in flour and frosting, and then shifted his gaze back to Mr. Thompson. "Some days are harder than others," he said slowly, feeling the sincerity wash over him. "But it's moments like these, with laughter and frosting, that help me keep going." And there it was again, that palpable sense of connection, a slender thread weaving through their lives. Yet the sunset outside reminded him that the night often brings uncertainty. Would that connection withstand whatever challenges lay ahead? Jamal took a deep breath, knowing he was standing at a critical juncture, a moment to choose courage over fear. And as Mr. Thompson looked at him with a blend of hope and trepidation, Jamal felt the stirring of something profound, something that could shape all their futures. How would he help them navigate the darkest parts of life? And could he shield his daughter from the shadows creeping closer? Jamal took a moment, his heart steadying with the rhythm of laughter and the scent of cookies filling the air. Here, in this tiny kitchen, was a world he fought hard to protect. Parenting isn't just about surviving the hard days, he finally said, locking eyes with Mr. Thompson. It's about creating memories in the midst of the storms. Mr. Thompson nodded, his gaze lingering on Mia as she twirled around, flour-dusted hands streaked with colors of frosting. "You're right," he said, gaze dropping. "Sometimes I forget to find joy in the little things." "I get it," Jamal replied softly. "But it's those little moments that anchor us, right? What matters is not the big picture, but how we navigate it together, day by day." As their conversation continued, Jamal felt something shift. The walls of his heart, reinforced by years of struggle, began to crack slightly. He sensed that Mr. Thompson, once seen only through the lens of corporate pressure and privilege, was just a man flawed and real, desperately searching for a lifeline. Mia's squeals of delight wrapped around them, filling the gaps of doubt. "Can we make a giant frosting monster?" she chirped. Jamal chuckled, feeling the weight of the world lightening. What if nurturing this connection could bear fruit, not only for Mr. Thompson, but for them both? With renewed determination, Jamal leaned in closer. "Mr. Thompson, I know that this road can be daunting, but maybe we can build something here. A support system that is not just about work but about healing." The look in Mr. Thompson's eyes shifted, uncertainty mixed with a spark of hope. "What if I fail again?" "I've tried before," he breathed, vulnerability filling the silence. Jamal shook his head. "It's okay to stumble. Everyone falls. What matters is that we lift each other up when that happens. I want Mia to see resilience, not perfection. And if you're willing to fight alongside me, we can turn that fear into strength." As those words hung in the air, Jamal felt the shift in energy. He was extending his hand not just to Mr. Thompson, but also to himself, a symbol of unity against their collective burdens. They were two souls looking for the same light to guide them home. Mia waved her hands excitedly, her bright spirit pulling them back into the moment. "Let us make the biggest cookie monster ever." "Yes." Jamal joined her excitement, heart swelling as he saw Mr. Thompson's lips curve into a tentative smile, a crack in the armor he wore so tightly. Jamal reached for the colorful sprinkles, spilling them across the counter with Mia, who squealed with laughter. Mr. Thompson chuckled, joining in his laughter, filling the room like a gentle balm. They were creating something beautiful together. More than just cookies, a new foundation of understanding. As the night unfolded, Jamal watched Mia inspire Mr. Thompson to engage with the world around them. For every lighthearted jab about cookie size, Jamal felt the roots of their friendship grow deeper. It was more than baking. It was molding a future filled with compassion and connection. But soon, an uncomfortable thought tugged at Jamal's heart again. How far could he extend his trust? Could he hold both Mia's innocence and this new bond with his boss? "Mr. Thompson," Jamal began cautiously, "I want to be honest. The path won't be easy. If we tackle this, you will need to be open not only to accountability, but also to change." "I know," Mr. Thompson admitted, voice determined but trembling. "I see that now. And I'm willing to face whatever it takes." The sincerity in his eyes steadied Jamal, forging a fragile thread linking them. That evening, as the kitchen filled with laughter and flour, Jamal's mind shifted to the inevitable conversations ahead. He would have to discuss the complexities of Mr. Thompson's struggles with Mia eventually. And yet, he wouldn't allow fear to dictate his steps. Tomorrow would be a new day, one where they would tackle life together, flaws and all. As they continued to throw frosting and sprinkles in delight, a newfound sense of courage blossomed within him. It whispered volumes of possibility. They were starting to build something necessary, not only for them, but for everyone connected to their stories. And as they unveiled their monstrous cookie creation, a wave of warmth enveloped them, building a sanctuary amid their struggles. In this moment, Jamal recognized what was unfolding, a bond that could hold not just hope, but change for them both. He squeezed Mia's shoulder, radiant with pride and joy. Together, they could make every clash and call of life as challenges an opportunity for connection. The messy chaos of their kitchen was merely a reflection of a greater picture that was emerging: acceptance, love, and the courage to face their fears together. They wrapped up the evening in bittersweet exhaustion, but with smiles that lit up their hearts like the winter stars twinkling just outside. All they had was this moment, and it was enough. As they shut off the lights and hugged Mia tight, Jamal knew this was just the beginning. A journey woven between shadows and light awaited them, ripe with the potential for real transformation, one cookie, one friendship at a time. And deep within, he felt the undeniable whisper of hope resound. They could turn the tides together. Now, before you go, this is your chance to support what you love. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread positivity across the community. Comment down below your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. I want to hear how it impacted you. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation of hope and connection. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Amazing stories like this deserve to be shared.